Hello again. We are Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to preview New Mexico's road trip to Auburn. 6:30 Central on ESPN2. Auburn, a 28-point favorite with an over-under of 61.5. That makes for a projected final of Auburn 41, New Mexico 17. My model's got Auburn by 31. We'll break it down and talk about it shortly. But first, Chase Robinson, tell folks who sponsors our content, please.
Yeah, that's BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. If you think you know your stuff, you can get in on a $200,000 mega contest. Pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, you can go to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker or one of the over 150 slots games. Head over to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here.
All right. Auburn comes off a 21-14 loss at home to Cal. I think if you're an SEC fan, certainly an Auburn fan, you know all about that. New Mexico lost 61-39 at Arizona last week. Kind of impressive showing offensively after losing 35-31 to a Montana State team that's 3-0. Don't know much about the FBS. I think they're one of the better teams out there, maybe, whatever that's worth. But let's start with New Mexico having the football. That's a lot of points to put on Arizona. An Arizona program that's, I guess, probably was fringe top 25 coming into the season. What do we know about New Mexico's offense?
Yeah, they got a pretty good quarterback in Devin Dampier. He is 42 of 68 on the year, 432 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He does have a couple of interceptions. He also leads the team in rushing, 18 carries, 164 yards. Averaging 9.1 yards per carry and 3 touchdowns on the ground. And so he's kind of their offense. He's their quarterback and their main running back. And so he gets it done. You mentioned they moved the ball well on Arizona. They did. And that's a good Arizona team that they played, and they were able to move the ball. The Lobos of New Mexico ended with 471 yards, 211 of those rushing on 30 first downs against Arizona. So I mean those are good numbers against a ranked team there. So I'll be interested to see if they're able to keep that up. Again, Dampier is their guy. He's got some targets to throw it to, but he can also tuck it and run. So he can be dangerous if he gets loose. And I'll be interested to see what Auburn does, what the game plan is to stop him. But what interests me about this game now is just, as I was researching this team, looking at what they did against a good Arizona team and how they were able to move the ball.
Yeah, and look, it wasn't an elite defensive performance for Auburn last week. Gave up 332 yards, 18 first downs, only 2.9 per rush, though. That doesn't adjust for sacks. Cal also helped keep Auburn in the game a little bit with 77 penalties. But, look, the main problem was the offense just couldn't stay on the field. Cal had the ball 35 minutes and 16 seconds. Auburn's defense has been solid under Hugh Freeze, and so I think that's where you put a lot of your hope for Auburn in this game. Look, you should beat New Mexico State anyway, but I think you're feeling certainly better about the defensive side, even if it wasn't great last week, than you are on offense.
Yeah, they got some players on the Auburn defense, and I think they will be ready for this rushing attack from New Mexico. And so I think that is where that kind of balances out is, yes, Auburn does have the defenders to stop what they're going to see against New Mexico.
All right, let's talk about when Auburn has the ball if we have to.
Yeah, that's just plagued with inconsistency for Auburn. Yeah. We saw that last year, and that's one of the biggest things going into this year. I think I was looking for from Auburn is are they more consistent? Is Peyton Thorne consistent? And he was not Saturday. 4 picks. They had another fumble, so 5 turnovers when Auburn had the football Saturday. Which is what ultimately led to them losing the game. It's hard to win games when you turn the ball over 5 times. And just, mistakes, I feel like that are hard to bounce back from. So, I feel like they've got the player. Jarquez Hunter, he was able to run the ball well to start the game last week. They had to adjust after Cal made some adjustments defensively, but they've got a great receiving core there at Auburn. It's just, can Peyton Thorne get it to him? I feel like that's the question we're going to be asking every week is what Peyton Thorne are we getting? He was hitting his targets against Alabama A&M. I know the opponent was better last week against Cal, but he struggled. And so I feel like it's going to be a question of which Peyton Thorne are we getting. There needs to be consistency with Auburn. When you look at New Mexico defensively, they gave up 627 yards to Arizona, and that was the big kicker. 422 of those yards were passing for Arizona, and so they struggle defending the pass. Again, Auburn has the receivers to get the job done in the air. It's just, can we get a consistent Peyton Thorne out there to get it to them? And I think that could be the game changer for the Auburn Tigers to score a lot of points, to win this game big, to get people excited about Auburn again. But Peyton Thorne can't turn the ball over. He's got to be able to get it to these guys. And if they are able to get into that second level of the defense, I think Auburn's scoring.
Well, here's the good news for Auburn. I'm looking at some of these New Mexico State numbers, and I'm kind of been distracted while I'm like clicking on some of these, like, are these right? They are bad. I think if you're Auburn, you probably want to reestablish your ground game with Jarquez Hunter. New Mexico State's given up 7.8 yards per carry so far, and it's given up 8.8 per pass. And again, that includes Montana State on your schedule too. So I think that, look, there's an opportunity for Auburn to really get right. Now, look, if you want to be a pessimist, you can say, hey, things look great against Alabama A&M, and then we saw what happened against Cal. This is kind of an in-between, probably closer to facing Alabama's A&M's defense than it is to facing Cal. But I think statistically, this lines up as a get-well game for Auburn's offense.
Yeah, I'm going to take Auburn, and I'm going to take them by a few touchdowns because I feel like Peyton Thorne is not going to have two bad games in a row. Like, I feel like he sees some of the mistakes he made and how he can fix that. So I think he's on target with his receivers this week, and I think Auburn gets the job done down on the Plains.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare bet on how much here. I just don't know with Auburn. Totally unpredictable. Feels like their good moments under Hugh Freeze have been when you're not expecting it. This feels like an opportunity for a letdown, but statistically, it's just, I feel like even Auburn's going to move the ball on New Mexico's defense, given the stats the Lobos are putting up.
Yeah,
so,
I would agree with that, yeah.
Unless the defense really just has a letdown performance. And again, they can move the ball, but I think it's going to be too much for them to overcome. So I think we like Auburn big here in spite of what we saw last week. We'll be here to talk about it on Saturday night. Best way to get that is hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and give us a thumbs up here if you don't mind. Yeah, that's the same as the like button. That helps our analytics and enable your notifications so you know when we go live. We cover basketball and baseball off season too. Anyway, in advertising inquiries, caroline.smith at southeastern14.com. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. We're Southeastern 16, presented by BetOnline.